I'm going to read you the Bible verses. They come from Luke. The chapter is Luke 19, verses 11 through 27. The parable of the 10 minas. Well, while they were listening to this, but he went on to tell them a parable. Because he was near Jerusalem and people thought that the kingdom of God was going to appear at once, he said, "A man of noble birth went to a distant country to have himself appointed king, and then to return. So he called 10 of his servants and gave them 10 minas. Put this money back, put this money to work," he said, "until I come back." But his subjects hated him and sent a delegation after him to say, "We don't want this man to be our king." He was made king, however, and returned home. Then he sent for the servants to whom he had given the money, in order to find out what he had gained with it. The first one came and said, "Sir, your mina has earned 10 more." "Well done, my good servant," his master replied. "Because you have been trustworthy in a very small matter, take charge of 10 cities." The second came and said, "Sir, your mina has earned 5 more." His master answered, "You take charge of 5 cities." Then the other servant came and said, "Sir, here is your mina. I have kept it laid away in a piece of cloth. I was afraid of you because you are a hard man. You take out what you did not put in and reap what you did not sow." His master replied, "I will judge you by your own words, you wicked servant. You knew, did you, that I am a hard man, taking out what I did not put in and reaping what I did not sow? Why didn't you put my money on deposit, so that when I came back I could have collected it with interest?" Then he said to those standing by, "Take his mina away from him and give it to the one who has 10 minas." Sir, they said, "he already has 10." "Yes," he replied, "I tell you that to everyone who has more will be given, but as for the one who has nothing, even what he has will be taken away. But those enemies of mine who did not want me to be king over them, bring them here and kill them in front of me." That was the word of the Lord from Luke chapter 19, verses 11 through 27. Now I'm going to start my sermon. It's called, "Are You Ready for Your Challenge?" The time this parable takes place is just before entering Jerusalem on Palm Sunday. This is what made people think Jesus was talking about an earthly kingdom, and it was going to right away. Did you catch the story? A noble is going to a distant country to have himself appointed king of a kingdom, and he will come back. The clue, "distant country," tells that he will be gone for a while. Before he leaves, he gives 10 servants 10 minas each. Now, at this time, it would be equal to about 3 months of wages. Note that the difference in this parable and others is that each one receives an equal amount. The servant's duty was to take care of the money while the normal man was away. The nobleman returns home and called his servants to see what they gained. The first servant was very humble and said he had increased his investment by 10 times the amount he started with. He was rewarded 10 cities. The second servant had invested his minas and earned 5 more and was put in charge of 5 cities. Another servant came and said he put his away in a cloth, and because the nobleman was a thief and had no love for him, his mina was given to the first servant. Citizens of his country hated the nobleman and didn't want him to be their king. Now that you know the story, let's go more into detail. These are the keys to unlocking this parable. The nobleman, a king. Who do you think it is? It is Jesus. The 10 servants are us, the Christians. So, what do you think the minas in this story mean? To spend our time and talent sharing the word. It is people that hated Jesus. What was entrusted with the gospel? You see, the nobleman or king wasn't really concerned about the money, but it was their faithfulness and trust to the master he was concerned about. The servant was not eager to please, but was lazy and purposely did nothing to help his master. What's interesting about this story is that we are in it. There are three possibilities to the outcome of our lives. One, we could be a faithful servant and do what he called us to do. Two, a false servant who claims to carry out their responsibilities but and fails what he is given to do by Jesus. Or number three, we can be his enemy and reject him. This is a lesson about how we are treating the absence of our master. Are we living the life that honors our absent master? What do you think? His citizens hated him. They voted God out. Are you going to be a faithful servant, one who says they follow what they need to do, but they don't? Or are you going to be hateful towards our absent master? Sorry about that. This parable warns us not to be like the third slave and hide the gospel, and not to tell anyone about it. Another warning is to those who don't honor God. They will be shut out of the kingdom forever. You're either among the faithful, the false, or the foe. This parable is not about money. Jesus wasn't concerned about the money, but telling others the good news, the gospel. It is not about money. Rewards for the faithful, rejection for the false, or retribution for the foes. Where are you? What group? I challenge you to think about how you are using God's gifts He provides us with. Have they been put on a shelf because we are too busy with our own activities? Investing in God's gifts takes faith, as well as for our Master, who will one day return to and come and get group number one. The real question is, what will you do with the portion He has entrusted you with? Thank you for joining tonight, and I hope you learned something. Please like, comment, subscribe. Have a good night.